And we are live. Welcome to the NBA Deeper Dive. I am Josh Engleman. I am joined by Adam Scherer, and allegedly we are brought to you by Bet365. Every team in the NBA plays today. Most of them don't have a single thing to play for. This slate is preposterous. I hope everybody enjoys it. I certainly won't. I'll be out of here in an hour, and I will never look at this stuff again. Bring me the playoffs soon. Adam, what's going on?
Not much, man. Looking forward to the NBA regular season ending.
Yeah, this is the part of the NBA that is very clearly the worst part of sports. This should never exist.
It should not.
Like to investigate the Dallas Mavericks for sitting everybody while they still had a slight chance at the playoffs, and then see this and just be like, oh, okay, we have a day that's filled with non-existent exhibition basketball games. Farce. Yes, I did almost win again last night in MMA. Almost did not count. I was up a little bit, which was great, but I was up the least amount of money possible after those final two fights. Anyway, you ready to just get into this? I don't have anything like fun or anything to say at this point.
Yeah, I'm ready to get into it. Don't forget baseball locks at 1 today if you want to play like a real sport.
I would like to. I'm going to avoid everything the moment that this show ends.
Yeah, I'm going to make baseball lineups, then I don't know, probably go do something fun.
Yeah, I'm going to clean my pantry. Real fun Sunday. I'm going to go to the gym too, but I'm going to clean my pantry. That's my big thing for today. All right. Atlanta Hawks, 6.5 point dogs in Boston, 227 total. Best I can tell, we're going to have no Trae Young, no DeJounte Murray, no Bogdan Bogdanovic, no John Collins, no Clint Capella. DeAndre Hunter is probable. We have Onyeka Okongwu projected for 27% ownership as a $4,800 center. As I look at it, I think that Okongwu looks good. I don't know if he should be in a quarter of the lineups, just given his raw points here. I mean, raw points is everything. Salary is meaningless today. All you need are basically like you're shooting for the 8 highest scorers on DraftKings, essentially. I mean, you don't have to have it like that because it's going to be a lot of random morons, but we're talking about just straight raw points. Okongwu feels over-owned, but he does also feel like the best Atlanta play.
Yeah, agreed. On both points, 14% chance of being optimal, 27% ownership. He's a good point per minute guy. He's going to get minutes. It's not like you're talking about a random dude that isn't a good points per minute guy. We know he produces when he's out there. So Okongwu certainly looks good. I think the second piece is probably Jalen Johnson, followed by AJ Griffin, but Okongwu clearly the priority from Atlanta.
Yeah, it's there's nobody here for Atlanta that I look at and think like, okay, this is one of the guys that should have the crazy amount of ownership that we're going to get.
Agreed. Because there's, I'm sure, plenty of centers.
Yes. On the Boston side, absolutely no ownership coming into anybody here. Marcus Smart's questionable. Tatum's questionable. Robert Williams is questionable. I assume all those guys aren't playing. Jaylen Brown's already out. Horford's out. Brogdon is available. Peyton Pritchard's available. We don't have any ownership coming in. And unless Brogdon plays, I don't see anybody from Boston that I'd be trying to get to. And I don't even probably want to get to Brogdon.
Yeah, same boat. I mean, I guess there's the potential that they end up like really shorthanded, but even then, like you have enough just random Boston guys that you're probably not going to want to go there.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've got like 10 like dudes today.
Right, like even if they rule out Smart, Tatum, Williams, we already have Brown and Horford out. Like they still have a bunch of guys. Like you still have, Davison, Champagny, Williams, Cornette, Hauser, Griffin, White, Muscat. Yeah, they still have so many bodies that there's just going to be better spots.
All righty. Well, keep it moving because there's only so much that we can say about most of this stuff. Philadelphia 76ers, 3.5 point dogs in Brooklyn, 219 total for Philly. And for this one, Philly, anybody from the East, absolutely nothing to play for. Every single spot in the Eastern Conference is locked in. So just assume if you hear an East team, it doesn't matter. Brooklyn on the opposite side, an East team. So we don't have to say anything here. Philadelphia is going to be without Harden, Maxey, Melton, Harris, Tucker, and Embiid. Q-tag on Niang. Shake Milton at 6K is projected for 15% ownership. That's the high mark there. I think I might prefer Jalen McDaniels to Shake Milton, but I don't have any preferences here in general.
Yeah, Milton, I think, looks fine. Should play a bunch of minutes. McDaniels, wait, is he even in our... Oh, yeah, there is. McDaniels looks fine as well, not pulling any ownership. But yeah, I think Milton won for me. Maybe some Jaden Springer. He played like 30 minutes in regulation last game. Milton played like 36. McDaniels played 38. Those would probably be the three I'm looking to. You could, I guess, take shots at Paul Reed maybe also.
Yeah. This one's a pretty tough one for me, for anybody like really jumping out. The guys that are available for Philly outside of Paul Reed aren't really good per minute dudes.
Right.
I mean, like, I guess Springer is, but like, I also have no confidence in Jaden Springer.
Agreed. It's just like the opportunities will be there for those guys, but that's going to be the case for like 30 teams today.
Yeah. On the Brooklyn end of this one, Q tag on Spencer Dinwiddie, no Royce O'Neal, Seth Curry, Dorian Finney-Smith, Cam Johnson, Edmund Sumner's doubtful, Ben Simmons is always out, Nick Claxton is questionable, as is Joe Harris. I assume those guys aren't really playing, and at the very least aren't playing anything real. This is one of the first spots where I actually see some things that we should potentially try to get to. 14% owned Cam Thomas is 3,200. 13% owned Day'Ron Sharpe, 3,500. I like the idea of getting to Cam Thomas and Day'Ron Sharpe in this one, particularly Thomas.
Yeah, absolutely. We know what Cam Thomas can do when he's given, permission to just go play a bunch of minutes and shoot a lot. And it involves a lot of scoring. So he certainly looks good. Day'Ron Sharpe's a very good point per minute guy as well that should play a bunch of minutes. Those two in particular really stand out.
Yeah, I can see where they're
Thomas
getting
more so because he's not a center.
Yeah, like when I look at Day'Ron Sharpe, to me, he looks better than Okongwu today. And Okongwu's at a much more sizable amount of ownership.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
I just like, they don't have to play. Like, I don't expect Okongwu to play 34 minutes as a starting center. So, like, if we're just talking about muting it, they could do whatever they want to do with Day'Ron Sharpe. There's also Moses Brown there to like ruin that kind of thing as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, the way this actually probably works out is Moses Brown somehow beats Sharpe.
Jordan Klein, member for 24 months. Happy Easter, Josh Engleman. Yeah, you're giving that to the wrong guy. Not a holiday that carries any weight in my life. And then Jet, thanks for the great content all season, Josh and Adam and the whole Stochastic crew. Cheers, friends. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, Easter's not a thing for me. No kids, so I don't give a shit about the bunny side of it, and not religious, so I don't give a shit about that side. So I'm really out in the dark for this one.
It's an excuse for my parents to tell me that, or my mom, since my dad's Jewish, to tell me that I need to come home and have dinner at her house. And
yeah,
so we did that last weekend, but other than that, it does not exist.
Yeah, it is not one for me. All right, Pistons, 7.5 point dogs in Chicago, 219 total. Not a lot to write home about here. The Pistons have already been not playing anybody of value for the past few weeks. Doubtful tag on Omer Yuri. So we actually know, or at least assume we know, what the Pistons are going to do. If you're getting to anybody here, it seems to be pretty clearly Jaden Ivey, maybe Killian Hayes, but Ivey would be the guy that I'd be looking for.
Yeah, like you said earlier, it's, if this were like a normal slate, you'd probably be more interested in a $6,600 Hayes than an $8,200 Ivy, but it's not a normal slate. You're just trying to get raw points, and Jaden Ivey certainly projects quite a bit better than Killian Hayes.
Yep. I don't really see much else here. I don't know how you go any further down the line, especially with Bagley back. If Bagley was out, then Duren and Wiseman start to creep into playable territory. But for now, I see the rest of the Pistons as uneventful.
Yeah, same page. It's just, again, you can be with 15 games and with the just amount of salary not mattering, you can be very, very picky with what you want to do. And it's just, by the time you get to like a Jalen Duren or a James Wiseman, like, can they do reasonably well for their salaries? Sure. But by the time you get to them in terms of like what you're trying to prioritize, you would need basically your entire family to be playing 150 lineups, I think.
Hey, some people out there are going to have that.
Yeah.
I know a woman that's the wife of a husband who's a man type people. We can get those kind of lineups in if we need to.
Yeah, maybe line up like number 680. You start getting to somebody else on the Pistons.
That entire thing needs to get talked about even more. Like every anniversary, we should make sure that gets shared on Twitter and we all just mock it mercilessly.
I prefer to just pretend that he doesn't exist.
That's one of the funniest things. That was one of the dumbest, powerful speeches someone's ever given that had like where words just stopped having meaning. Oh man. Share that everywhere, please. Brian Cooks, Mo Salah, Hattie? I hope so. Unfortunately, I don't get to watch it with everybody because I get to talk about this bullshit for an hour.
Oh, it was a soccer thing. I read it like 3 times. I'm like, I don't know.
No, we're going to skip Liverpool Arsenal in a matchup that is incredibly meaningful and one that I would love to see, so that I could talk about how much we should get to Dalen Terry today.
Wait,
by
you
the way,
agreed to that?
What do you mean? No, I'm here. I work. I don't take off to go watch soccer.
I thought you frequently took off for Liverpool.
No, unless it's like a Champions League final or something like that.
And by took off, I guess I mean like I thought you kind of just worked your schedule around it.
Well, to be fair, I thought that this show was going to be at 10 o'clock in the morning and I was going to leave after it and go to the bar.
I showed up for it.
No, instead it got moved to 30 minutes before kickoff.
Okay.
To really just turn the screws. Chicago Bulls on the opposite side of this one. They haven't ruled anybody out, which I don't know. Beverly's available. DeRozan's available.
They said they're playing.
Zach LaVine is questionable. That makes me think that he's not playing. But these guys are not playing starter minutes.
Right.
Can you play anybody from Chicago?
I don't really think so. The most recent quote I saw from Billy Donovan, which was the other day prior to their second to last game, was that he did feel it was important to get guys, like to keep guys in rhythm, get them. What is Mike doing? I think he's lighting his.
Oh, hey, 46 seconds ago, Zach LaVine will play.
Oh, nice. Perfect timing. That's what I thought I saw. So yeah, with the Bulls, like I don't expect them to play big enough minutes to be like good plays, but I also, if those guys, with those guys playing, it makes it so you don't have those very easy value pieces as well. So I see pretty much nothing.
Yeah. Okay. We're on the same page there, but yeah, that just came in as we were talking that LaVine will play. So that makes it even worse for Chicago. That's just like, that's one guy that, is going to be there. And if he's playing, he's probably playing like 20 minutes. So I got nothing else here. Let's get the hell away from those first three games. Let's talk about the schedule for the rest of the day. That's pretty simple. NBA Live Before Lock coming up next at noon. They will take you all the way up until lock at 1 p.m. We don't have any other live content after that, but plenty of pre-recorded stuff. Check the Odd Shopper channel out. I dropped my Prize Picks video and my No House Advantage video. So if you want to see those things, go for it. We move it on. Charlotte Hornets. 5.5-point dogs in Cleveland, 216 total. It's another team that has already been playing without all the people that matter. So where it starts to get a little weirder for the Hornets. Q tag on DSJ. My assumption is that he's going to continue to not play, but who the hell knows? Otherwise, it's the same guys that have been out for the past couple weeks. Teo Maledon, 7,800, 10% owned. Only guy pulling any ownership here. Seems to me like he's probably the only guy that I could get to as well.
Yeah, I think that makes sense to me. They've been shorthanded for a while. You're getting a bunch of playing time from Teo Maledon. Yeah, that's about it. He projects for 38 DraftKings points. The next closest guy on this team is Nakai Luke at 30. That's just not a projection you're going to be getting to today.
No, it's not. It's really not. There are going to be spots where we roll into like, oh, we got to play all of these dudes. It's not the Charlotte team that already shut these guys down 2 weeks ago. And then we go to Cleveland. No, Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Karis LeVert, Isaac Okoro, Dylan Windler. Jared Allen is questionable. I assume that he is playing?
Yeah, it came out as you started introducing Cleveland.
Okay, it's basically the Levine version of the Cavs.
Yeah, exactly.
Evan Mobley, evidently, available for this one too. No ownership coming into Cleveland, and based on the way that I have it projected, I don't think you're getting to anybody here.
Yeah, I don't really think so. I mean, if this were like an 8-gamer, maybe you start taking shots on like Isaiah Mobley, hoping that he gets a bunch of like second half minutes or something. But it's not an 8-gamer, and so I don't think you need to do that. The highest projected guy right now for us is Evan Mobley at 33 DraftKings points. Again, just nothing there getting it done. Yeah,
I think it's going to look a lot like Thursday, where everybody played like 20 to 28 minutes, other than Lamar Stevens, and at that point, you still don't you need more than 31 minutes for Lamar Stevens too. So
right,
this is quite the farce of communication. Orlando Magic. This is a basketball team on today's slate. 5.5-point dogs in Miami, 213 total. By the way, this was like perfectly set up for DraftKings to run a 1 o'clock slate and a 3:30 slate and have them both be decent instead of running the full 15 right out of the gate. Like, I don't know why they even prioritize the 15-game slate. It's perfectly set up to not do this.
Yeah, I'll say it's kind of surprising because like typically the sites get crap for doing it too often. Like, oh, well, we can just rake these 8 games twice at 4 apiece instead of making it an 8-gamer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So kind of surprising they went that direction.
Orlando has Q tags on Fultz, Harris, Wagner, Banchero, Carter. We already have no Mo Wagner and no Jay Scrub. I'm going to sneeze. Oh, yeah, John Isaac also out. No ownership coming into Orlando. Can you get anywhere here today?
I think Bol is playable. Just because, I mean, he is a very good point per minute guy. If he ends up running into a bunch of minutes, he can get there. Yeah. We have him at 28 DraftKings points, but obviously he is really cheap. So he's one of the guys you could use to open some stuff up. We have him with a 10% chance of being optimal. Maybe that's a little bit high, but basically no ownership coming in there. Realistically, though, I don't think there's much you can get to.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page there. I mean, I guess like if Cole Anthony's playing 30 minutes, that is,
yeah,
could be a thing.
That could work. I just don't know if he is or not.
Right. They would be the only two guys. Like, there's nobody else. I mean, like, you would have to really anticipate. I guess Goga, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, Goga or Suggs, like if things break the right way. So I guess the way I feel about Orlando is like somebody on this team probably does end up being useful because they have so many good point per minute guys.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of like, how the hell do you know how many minutes these guys are playing? If Cole Anthony plays 30 plus minutes, yeah, sure. He's going to be doing everything when he's on the floor. Same goes for Suggs. I mean, he played 19 minutes last game. He played like 24, 25 the game before that. If he randomly plays 30 minutes here, then yeah, you're going to probably have wanted some Jalen Suggs. Same for Bol, same for Batadze. Michael Carter-Williams at 3,100. If he randomly plays 28 minutes is going to be a good play. It's just a matter of it's basically all random in terms of how many minutes they're going to play. So I do think that there's a good chance that somebody from this team ends up being good. In terms of who that's likely to be, I would say it's like Bol, Anthony, Batadze, Suggs, Carter-Williams, Okeke, probably in that order, but that's kind of all just guessing.
That works. The Miami Heat are on the opposite side here, and looks like we have no Jimmy Butler, no Nikola Jovic, but everybody else is playing. Makes it pretty easy. I don't know how you can play anybody from the Heat if you know everybody's in.
Agreed. I thought we got Butler out though.
Yeah, Butler is the only one that was out. Him and Jovic.
Okay, I missed that part. I heard Jovic.
Yeah, so like, if everybody's available, you can't project anybody for anything real. So Miami might be the easiest team to talk about if they're keeping everybody in and have nothing to play for.
Yep. Yeah, and it's not even like they have a bunch of 3K guys either.
No. Then we go to the Indiana Pacers. Q tags on Jalen Smith, TJ McConnell, Aaron Nesmith, Brissett, Isaiah Jackson, Miles Turner. We have no Halliburton, no Duarte. This one feels pretty tough. They could do a bunch of weird stuff with these guys. Like, could you get or do we just get 34 plus minutes out of Mathurin and Nembhard and some of these guys? At which point you start to want to look at some of the Indiana dudes, but no confidence here.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like Mathurin should play a lot. Like, he fits the mold of somebody Indiana should be looking to give a bunch of minutes to here. You know, obviously it has no implication on anything in terms of standings this year, but you just have a rookie that you can give a bunch of minutes to, played 38, 39 minutes last game. So I do think he's interesting in tournaments just because if he plays that again, he's going to look pretty good. Do you take some shots on Gabe York, who played like the entire second half last game? He's only played 43 total minutes this year, so don't really know what to expect from him on a point per minute basis, but ended up playing 30 minutes last game, basically the entire second half. It's the kind of guy that I think could just soak up a bunch of minutes here.
Mikal Bridges will start, commit a foul, and check out of Sunday's game per Jacques Vaughn.
That's surprising honesty.
If that's a thing, you should never have to do any of it. Like, right. It's so stupid that has to exist. Also, Chuck Deuces. Kevon Looney did not get lucky that he would be a bench guy in the 90s and now he's a great fit. No, he would be better in the 90s. Think of Kevon Looney would be so much better in 1990 than he is in 2023.
Yeah, I don't know.
They had so many bad versions of Kevon Looney at that point in time. Like, oh my God, he would thrive.
There's not a player in today's NBA that you can look at and say they'd be worse in the 90s. There are some shooters that you could say would be misused in the 90s and not have the role that they have, but there's nobody that is playing in the NBA today that would be worse playing in the 90s.
No, particularly the defensive pick and roll center that would fit the game perfectly.
He would be like an offensive force in the 90s also.
Yeah, it's crazy. He's part of a 5-man lineup for the Warriors that is the best plus minus of any team in the league, of any like real lineup. He's going to go back in time and be fine. I'm quite confident of it. Go look at all the 7-foot white dudes that were allowed to be centers then. He's going to nuke those guys. We're going to the Knicks. Knicks are going to be without Jalen Brunson, Dwayne Washington, and Julius Randle. Q-tag on Daquan Jeffries. Seems like Tibbs is going to treat this one like it doesn't matter. Do we have to play the Knicks?
I mean, we have nobody getting any ownership or looking very good in optimal percentage right now.
Like is Quickly not a good play today? Is RJ Barrett a good play today?
I kind of think they are. I'm trying to figure out why we don't, like, why they're not showing up well for us projections wise. I'm looking now to see what we have them at minutes wise. 32 minutes for Quickly, 30 for Barrett, 35 for Grimes is what we have projected right now. I think that's reasonable. It's pretty much what they played last game.
Like, to me, those are spots that we should look at.
Yeah, because I mean, even if Quickly plays like 30 to 32, the problem is that, you know, somebody had said in chat, like, who are the pay up guys that have something to play for today? There's not many of them. And it's also not like most good players today are just not playing at all, or they're playing like 20 minutes. So if you can expect like 30 out of Quickly, that is at least somewhat appealing from a overall score standpoint.
I'm with you. It feels like Tibbs is just going to be Tibbs. So I'm willing to take some shots on the Knicks.
Yeah, nothing that I don't think you need to go crazy with them, but you know, we have 4% ownership coming into Quickly, 7% chance of being optimal, 4% ownership coming into Barrett, 8% chance of being optimal. There are at least guys that look to be going a little bit under owned.
We'll go to Milwaukee now. 3.5-point dogs in Toronto, 225 total. No Drew Holiday, Grayson Allen, AJ Green, Chris Middleton, Pat Connaughton, Giannis, or Brook Lopez. So pretty easy stuff in terms of Milwaukee. Highest owned guy, 2.7% owned. Lindell Wigington. Do I just have this dude projected incorrectly, or is he like overwhelmingly the best option for Milwaukee today?
Yeah, why? That ownership has to come up. I mean, we have him with a 16%, 17% chance of being optimal. He played 41 minutes last game. I think he won Steve a tournament. Yeah, I mean, this is just
same for Beauchamp too, by the way.
What'd you say?
Same for Beauchamp. Played 43 minutes on Friday.
Yeah, I was gonna say he looks a little bit. He's like right behind Wigginton, I think, as far as being just good plays. You get this every year this time of year from Milwaukee because they have typically locked up whatever they're going to be in the East, and Budenholzer just runs out random dudes you've never heard of for 40 minutes, and they end up being good plays. So, yeah, I think the ownership on both of those guys comes up. We have Beauchamp with a 10% chance of being optimal as well. So, I think they both look good.
Yeah, so do I. The ownership there was wild, but like.
38 minutes for Thanasis last game too, by the way.
I'm also not paying close attention to ownership today. Like, I don't know how, like, it's just the hardest thing to try to estimate on a day like today.
Yeah, sure. Thanasis also played 38 minutes last game.
He did. He was also a part of that straw poll saying that he doesn't belong in the NBA, as if we needed that straw poll run.
I don't know what you're talking about.
There was like a tweet that came out either yesterday or 2 days ago where like somebody asked a bunch of NBA execs if Giannis wasn't in the league, would Thanasis be an NBA player? And everybody was just like, no. And it's like, well, fucking why'd you have to ask that question? Like, no shit. Nepotism exists across the board. Yeah, it also exists here. Okay. I got nothing else for Milwaukee. It's Wigington, it's Beauchamp. I don't want to say that I guess it's Thanasis too, but if he plays 38 minutes, like everybody that plays 38 minutes today needs to at least be talked about.
Yeah, agreed.
But he's not good. Not at all. And then we go to Toronto. No Van Vliet, Doughton, Anunoby, Otto Porter, or Pascal Siakam. So Basketball Monster right now has Will Barton playing the point guard, shooting guard, and small forward roles in the starting lineup. So that should be an interesting experiment for the Raptors. No ownership coming into Toronto. I think they're probably casting a pretty wide net here. I don't see anybody that I'd be getting to.
Me neither. Yeah, nothing.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to add.
I mean, like maybe Barton, Banton, Boucher, but I doubt it.
All righty. Well, then let's talk a little bit about Bet365, the sponsor of today's show. And it's simple. If you live in New Jersey, Colorado, Ohio, or Virginia, stop what you're doing right now. Take advantage of this offer. Bet $1 and get $200 in bonus bets. This is as easy as it's going to get. It does require a deposit. That shouldn't be all that difficult. All you have to do is bet $1 to get this. And those bonus bet winnings will get added to your bonus bet balance. There are some terms and conditions that apply, but this is essentially free money, folks. Take advantage if you can. You see the banner on the top of the screen explaining what I'm saying. Click the link in the description if you need some help. And the legal age for gambling in most states is 21 or over. And if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Apparently you could text it as well. That seems like a much easier way to do this.
Yeah. So to quickly recap Orlando, ignore everything we said because they're actually playing their guys.
Wendell Carter available to play. Fultz available to play. Franz Wagner available. Gary Harris available. So don't play anyone from Orlando.
Pretty much. I mean, we're assuming that those guys don't actually play real minutes, right?
Right. Well, now we can't even know now. Like now you just can't.
If you get 32 minutes from Markelle Fultz today, like that's a good play.
Right. But there's no way he's playing 32 minutes.
You wouldn't think so.
I hate every bit of today. Oh, Liverpool kicked off. So I'm going to put that on and pay attention to this game quite a bit less than I have been, or pay attention to this show quite a bit less than I have been. And we're going to move it on to the Houston Rockets, 4-point favorites in Washington, 227 total. Houston has been just jamming their starters down everybody's throats as of late. Kevin Porter Jr. is out. Jayshawn Tate is out. Everybody else is in. I'm going to assume that we're getting the standard, like Jalen Green playing massive minutes, Şengün playing massive minutes. Jalen Green and Şengün look amazing.
Yeah. Obviously, like there is some risk that doesn't happen since it is the last game of the season, but Houston's been doing it for weeks now with nothing to play for. They've said that they just, value these minutes for their guys. So I certainly don't think that has to change here. And Green and Şengün in particular, both look really good. Jabari Smith looks fine. But Jalen Green and Şengün, I really like both of them. The Rockets did sign Willie Cauley-Stein. I assume that has no impact on anything, but that came out a few minutes ago.
Oh, okay. Good to know. Step up there, Willie. They already have Boban and he doesn't play. So definitely I'm glad they picked up a center for this stretch run when they already have 4 of those dudes. God, I hate all of this. On to your Wizards, a team that has also been punting for a bit. No. Did you see? Go to the injury report now and look at the injury designation for Jay Huff.
Let me find Washington.
By the way, Jay Huff out, Monty Morris, DeLon Wright, Bradley Beal, Denny Avdia, Kyle Kuzma, Kristaps Porzingis, and Daniel Gafford all out.
G League. Yeah.
They listed Jay Huff out for the G League. That's not even a real season any longer. That is completely over. It makes no sense. Yeah. So I guess Jay Huff is going to be with the G League affiliate playing absolutely no basketball whatsoever. We have to like with the Wizards, right? Like they just don't have enough guys, and we got to pick some spots here. Jordan Goodwin pulling some ownership, Kendrick Nunn pulling some ownership, but I think we unfortunately have to pay attention to Washington.
Yeah, right there with you. Jordan Goodwin, Kendrick Nunn, Johnny Davis. Like we know these guys can all just go out there and score. They all project north of like 32 to 34 DraftKings points. So they're all going to look pretty good. I assume Isaiah Todd gets minutes here without Gafford and without Jay Huff. He's a center.
Thrilling analysis, folks. He's not the best guy in the world for nothing.
I mean, I don't know what to expect points per minute wise, but he's going to be out there and in a position to grab rebounds and play.
He's
minutes.
A center.
Yeah, I assume Xavier Cooks plays a good amount. He's a wing. Yeah, I mean, the minutes are going to be there. I think Nunn, Goodwin, Davis are like the known commodities. You can expect their playing time to be solid. You know that they're capable of going out there and scoring. And then guys like Isaiah Todd, Xavier Cooks, they can fall into big games, but I'm certainly less confident in what they're going to look like.
Yeah. This is just a spot where like the Wizards don't have enough bodies, and we kind of already know which of these guys are going to pick up some minutes. So this is a spot to target if you want to feel like pretty comfortable about playing time. Like whoever starts for the Wizards, I think you can make a realistic case that they're like good options for today.
Yeah, and I assume the starting lineup is Goodwin, Davis, Kispert, Gill. Todd.
Yeah, that works. Because Todd is a center.
Yep. That's why I said him last.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else for the Wizards?
Watch them start Taj Gibson in the last game of the season.
It's amazing that we get paid for this today.
Yeah.
Like that's special right there. This is the worst job I'll do for the calendar year.
I don't know how you do a good job though. Like
no. I don't mean that like I'm actively doing a bad one, but I will never have less to say on a show than today.
No, I was thinking about it a minute ago. I was like, if somebody like just tuned in for like the first time, they would 100% like think I had completely checked out and did not care. And it's not that. It's like, what are you gonna say?
Yeah. There's no real info here.
Right. Like this isn't even like preseason where you can dig through coach speak and try and figure out like rotations. It's more so just like it's a 1-game sample of nothing and they're going to do whatever the hell they want.
Where are you seeing Huff is out exactly? The official injury report? Yeah, that's a pretty decent source, Doc.
Yeah, that would be it.
I wouldn't look anywhere else. That's the one that's going to get me the info. But that is one of the more comical designations.
It does open the door for them to just like for him to not be on the injury report later.
Yeah, absolutely. But like I don't trust it. I have no idea what they're doing. They'll start Huff. All righty. San Antonio Spurs, 3.5-point dogs.
I think they're
Dallas.
Also going to start Beal, Kuzma, and Porzingis.
Yeah, they're going to start Gilbert Arenas too. 228 total here for Dallas. They're going to start Javaris Crittenton too. They're going to get him on work release for today's game.
If a later injury report has him not in the G League, then yeah, Huff probably starts. But
yeah, 100% agree. I'm going to assume 90 minutes before this that was not like a clerical error.
Right.
But I don't know. Spurs. The Spurs have been a tire fire for most of this year. They have ruled out Devontae Graham, Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Sohan, Doug McDermott, Zach Collins, Charles Bassey, and Kem Birch. There's a Q tag still on Romeo Langford, which is incredibly special. I think we kind of have to have at least a little bit of interest in the Spurs. They just don't have enough bodies left. And some of these guys aren't total garbage.
Yeah, I mean, they have some decent point per minute guys. They are shorthanded. We have Trey Jones projected for 37 DraftKings points. That's the most on the team. He's getting the most ownership, has the highest optimal percentage. I think that's all fine. Maybe Blake Wesley plays enough minutes to matter. I don't feel very confident in that. I think Jones is the only guy I'd feel like relatively confident in. Mamu looks okay, but center only, and there's a bunch of good center options today.
Have we named one of those yet?
Centers?
Yeah. Isaiah Todd. He's a center.
Sharp, potentially Todd, Huff if he does end up getting promoted. Yeah, I mean, I think there's that's like the one position we've probably named the most of.
Yeah, maybe. I see all of those guys as basically the exact same person today too. So I don't know why I'm trying to add context. Dallas Mavericks, who very clearly punted this season a couple days ago, which for those of you that think that was a bad idea, congrats on being wrong once again.
I mean, it was the correct idea. It was horrible from a like optics standpoint.
Oh yeah, terrible. But like we're seeing terrible optics long before that happened too.
My biggest question is to what extent does it piss off Luka?
I mean,
does it piss him off enough?
I don't think it pisses him off at all.
You don't. I mean, he had specifically like 3 days before that said like, I want to play as long as we have a chance to win, like blah, blah, blah. And then they're like, yeah, you're not doing
that. I think he just has to say that in the public.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm Luka, I absolutely don't want to just be punting when we have like a 25% chance of making the play.
If it's making the 10 seed in this scenario, I'm looking at it like, he's sitting down with everybody, with Nico Harrison and Cubes and stuff. And they're like, yo, when we inevitably get to keep this draft pick, we can turn that pick, Tim Hardaway and Dwight Powell, into another human being that can play on this basketball team. If we make the 10 seed, we're going to lose this pick and we're going to get trounced pretty quickly. And we're not ready for this anyway.
Yeah.
It's a pretty quick explanation.
Yeah, I'm not. I just like if I'm Luka and I know I have Kyrie on my team, like I still think that I can figure it out and get it done like in the playoffs.
If they would have controlled their own destiny, like if they had the tiebreaker for the Thunder, I think everybody, like I think they go for it. But because they need, like they couldn't even save it if they wanted to.
Right.
That's when you wash your hands of it. You're like, okay, I got an 80% chance to keep this pick. I got a 4% chance or whatever at Wembanyama. Park your ass, man.
Right. And like I agree that they did the right thing. I'm just saying, like, I could see it being a very difficult sell for Luka.
Josh, no pro athlete is cool with losing, especially a superstar. Yeah, I agree. Like, I don't think Luka wants to lose, but there's a difference between like wanting to lose and being like, okay, I'm going to play a basketball game that has no meaning, which is what that was. Like, he's not going to go out there just heaving shots and like not giving a shit. That I agree with. If Luka's out there, he wants to win and win that basketball game. I don't dispute that at all. But get the pick, trade that shit. Get Wemby, and everybody shuts the hell up real quick. Vig took down the Sunday NBA shot and Friday NBA slam this week on FanDuel, both by double digits. Thanks, guys.
Congrats.
Good stuff. Hope you were repping the brand. Hope you had the avatar up. Dallas Mavericks, as I mentioned, no Luka, no Kyrie, no Hardaway, no Bullock, no Green, no Maxey. Christian Wood off the injury report for today. So we gotta have a conversation about Christian Wood.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. He's a really good point per minute guy. He's playing without anybody else. Do they need to lose again today?
No, they're done.
Okay, they're good.
They're a game back of OKC, and OKC has the tiebreaker. There's nothing they can do. They're already out.
I didn't know if it affected getting like in the top 10.
That's actually a good point. I hadn't thought about that. Right now they are in the 10. I don't know what the tiebreaker would be between them and Utah. They could, in theory, get to 9 if they hold that tiebreaker.
But they can't fall beyond 10.
They can't fall beyond 10.
Okay, then they shouldn't be actively trying to lose like they were last time.
No, agreed.
Because somebody earlier asked why Hardy only played like however many minutes he played, and it was because they benched their second unit at halftime to bring in the actual end of the bench. So if they don't have to lose this game, then I think Christian Wood is certainly interesting. McKinley Wright, Jaden Hardy start to look interesting as well.
Yeah. Assuming they can let it rip and not have to care, this could be a really interesting spot for Hardy and for Wood. I don't know enough about like the way that tiebreakers work that direction.
Right. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. If they can, as long as they are going to keep their pick, like they should just be able to play these guys.
Yeah. I can't remember how ties are broken in the lottery, if it's just coin flips or they have a tiebreaker process. I really don't remember. Anyway, Sacramento, 4.5-point favorites in Denver, 231 total. For the Kings, Q tag on Davion Mitchell, Q tag on Monk. It appears that everybody for the Kings is available for this one, which leads me to believe that they're not going to be playing anybody of value. And you should not get to anything for Sacramento, who are currently locked into the number 3 seed. I don't know how you play anybody here from the Kings.
Yeah, same boat. Don't see anything.
Who has the best chance to get Wembanyama now? Same teams that have had that chance for 3 months. Pistons, Spurs, and Rockets have locked down the best odds of getting Wembanyama since probably January. That's been set in stone for ages at this point. Nuggets side of this one, they are the number 1 seed. They do host the man that should be the 3-time reigning defending NBA MVP, but unfortunately not the case. Q tag on Bruce Brown, Jamal Murray, KCP, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, Jeff Green, and Nikola Jokic. I'm going to go ahead and assume that most of those guys aren't going to be playing real basketball today. What do you want to do here with Denver? Is there anybody worth getting to?
I mean, assuming that these guys get ruled out, then potentially like Ish Smith, Thomas Bryant, Peyton Watson.
I like with all those guys out, I still don't really see anybody that we need to go crazy to get to.
Yeah, it's just like a bunch of guys that look decent.
Yeah.
Like we have them projected out. We have Ish Smith with the highest boom percentage on the team, followed by Bryant, followed by Jordan, followed by Watson, Chanchar, and Jackson. Like to where they all look decent, but nothing looks like somebody you have to have.
I got nothing else to add here for Denver.
Same.
We'll go to the Utah Jazz. 16.5-point dogs in LA. 235 total. Richie Smalls. Dallas can't end up with the 1 and lose the pick to the Knicks. That's what pick protection's for. That can't happen.
What?
Dallas can't get the first pick in the draft and lose the pick to the Knicks. That's not a thing.
Oh, yeah. So I didn't see what he said. I thought you were. Yeah, never mind. I'm following now.
Yeah, that's not a thing. So for Utah, this is actually something we need to talk about here. Jazz are going to be without Jordan Clarkson, Colin Sexton, THT, Lauri Markkanen, Rudy Gay, Walker Kessler. Evidently, Kelly Olynyk is available for this one, but we finally found one guy that is, like, to me, clearly a guy that we got to get to, and that's going to be Chris Dunn.
Yeah, looks great. Good point per minute guy. Been better this year than he ever was, in his career, and he's just playing without teammates. So he's going to look really good.
Yeah, looks exceptional. I don't see anybody else from the Jazz that I would want to be getting to. Most of these guys aren't very good. I guess Samanic, if you think he plays 30 minutes. But
yeah, I'll say Samanic,
even still,
Damian Jones, maybe, but Chris Dunn, clearly.
If the Mavs pick was unprotected, then Luka would have played. The whole Mavs team would have played on Friday.
Yeah,
because then it wouldn't have mattered. Where they wouldn't have gave a shit about it. Then you do try to get into the play-in because then you want the extra money. Yeah, so get yourself some Chris Dunn. Is Chris Dunn the best thing that we've seen so far? Feels like it, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, we're going to have one that's ahead of him shortly, but for now, that's where we at. All right, Lakers. This is one that matters. They can be in a couple different spots, 6, 7, or 8. They need the Warriors to lose, which is going to be a real tough sell considering they're 2 touchdown favorites against Portland. But Lakers are caring about this one. 36% ownership coming to AD right now, 21 to LeBron. I think you could obviously make a case for D'Angelo Russell in this spot as well, but we found the first spot that you pay up for.
Yeah, just minutes you can trust here, at least for as long as the game's competitive. Clearly a spot where Davis and James should be able to get whatever they want. And, again, raw points matter. Is Anthony Davis or LeBron a great bet to, get 6x their salary or whatever number you want to use? No, not really, but they are 2 of the most likely guys to score 50 plus points on the slate, and you're going to need that if they do it. So both of them look really, really good. I'm with you as far as Russell being reasonable as well. I mean, you could go Austin Reeves, I guess, if you want to also, just as far as somebody playing a bunch of minutes that could have, could score enough fantasy points to matter. But clearly Davis and LeBron 1 and 2 in some order. Probably LeBron first, just because he's small forward, but I think they're both really, really good plays.
Yeah, same. Have to be getting to them. If you're playing a lot of lineups, you're going to have quite a bit of heavy exposure to the Lakers. New Orleans Pelicans. 3.5-point dogs in Minnesota, 230 total. Pels also have massive things to play for. They are 59% to be the 9 seed, but they can get all the way up to the 5 if things were really, really weird today. Don't think that that's going to happen, but they are tied with the Lakers as of right now. Just very big jumble from 5 to 10. Well, from 5 to 9 in the West. As I look at the Pels, this one's pretty easy. It's Brandon Ingram. It's CJ McCollum. This looks a lot like the Lakers situation. You're just going to these guys that you can pay up for.
Yeah, agreed. Ingram looks really good. I don't care what the salary is on him. It's just raw points, and the entire offense has been running through him. CJ McCollum looks good as well. Not as good as Ingram, but still good. If you land on a little bit of Trey Murphy or Joe Val, I think that's reasonable. But Ingram, clear number 1. McCollum, clear number 2.
Yeah, I'm with you. How do you feel about Ingram in relationship to the Lakers guys?
Similar, slightly behind Davis and LeBron, but similar.
Yeah, it's a day where there's no real context between them. It's just these are guys that score a lot. I don't know how else to hash that out. Zach, man, you got to like stop talking in chat, because if the question is, if Lakers are signing Shaq Harrison, does that mean he's not playing for Portland today? Is a question that you've got to ask. I don't know what to tell you. He's not going to like take off his jersey in one game and then switch it for the other one.
Yeah, it's a pretty good bet that if he's signing for a different NBA team, he's not playing for his previous NBA team.
Yeah, you got to just put a cork in it at this point, man. Because I'm in no mood. Minnesota Timberwolves. Where do they stand here? Wolves, all different spots. They can go 7, 8, or 9. So they, in theory, care about this one. We did get Rudy Gobert added to the injury report, though, so I don't know what they're going to do. Q tag on Towns, Q tag on Gobert, Q tag on Noel and Rivers. No Naz Reid, who's still out. Big ownership coming into Anthony Edwards. Big ownership coming into Karl Anthony Towns. Assuming Edwards, Towns, and Gobert play, they're interesting to me, especially Edwards.
Yeah, I like all three of them. I'm with you. Edwards would be number 1, Towns number 2, Gobert number 3. But you can get increased playing time from Gobert with no Naz Reid. We've seen that more often than not recently. He is a center, so that's why he would be 3rd. But power forward eligibility on Towns, shooting guard, small forward on Edwards is really useful from a roster construction standpoint. So all 3 of those guys look good. Again, I'd say Edwards 1, Towns 2, Gobert 3.
And obviously, if Towns and Gobert happen to get ruled out and it doesn't appear that we're going to get no Edwards, then Edwards might just be like the best guy that you can get to today.
Edwards would look great. That would also open up like Luka Garza / Nathan Knight. I don't think I've gotten that correct once this year, but you could try and do it again. Kyle Anderson also starts to look better in that case.
For sure.
Like a lot better.
Yeah. I mean, like McDaniels is viable in those cases then too.
Yeah. I mean, McDaniels showed he can take on a bigger role as a scorer when needed. If Towns is out, I assume you're getting Anderson back in the starting lineup and playing a very big role.
Memphis Grizzlies, 1-point favorites in Oklahoma City. This one is about as comical as it gets. For the Grizz, we have a probable tag on Zaire Williams. Doubtful tags on Morant, Jones, Brooks, Bane, Jackson, and Aldama. No Clark, no Adams, no LaRavia. By the way, no chance for the Grizzlies to win the NBA title at this point, now that Steven Adams has gotten what looks like the full axe for the year. This is the team you got to play basically everybody for. In particular, 69% ownership going to Kenneth Lofton Jr., $3,400 power forward center. He is the best play on today's slate, in my opinion.
Yeah, pulling like 70% ownership, and he should be. He's a good point per minute guy. Just going to play as many minutes as he can. He has power forward eligibility on top of it. We have him with a 93% boom percentage. Now, keep in mind that doesn't matter quite as much on a slate like this because, again, salary is not irrelevant, but close to irrelevant. But just, for context, he is wildly. He's right now he's projected for more than 10 times his DraftKings salary. Yeah,
I mean, right now I have him projected as the 7th highest projected guy on the slate.
Right. Yeah, it's very, very easy.
So he's just a permanent fixture here. But, David Roddy, Conchar, Luke Kennard, Zaire Williams, Vince Williams, the VCU product. Like, you can get to a lot here from Memphis because they just don't have human beings. This feels like old Memphis.
Yeah, I was going to say this is bringing back some flashbacks. But, this looks like collectively the best team we've seen so far. Just, all the starters are out, but then like all the backups are out too. Like just play tons and tons and tons of Memphis.
Yeah, I mean they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think they only have 8 guys.
Yeah, we have 7 projected for minutes. It looks like.
Now we got. Do we not have Jacob Gilliard? Is he doesn't have a salary, but he is a member of the Grizzlies.
Yeah,
so. 7 playable guys, but yes, whatever a Jacob Gilliard is, he does exist for Memphis on a 2-way contract.
Yeah, it looks like we have him playing like 24 minutes, and these guys still look good.
Yeah, so we got to get to a bunch here. Go Memphis. OKC. Thanks to Dallas's indifference, is the 10 seed for today. The Thunder are going to be without Josh Giddey, Shea, Lou Dort, Jalen Williams, Kenrich Williams, fucking anything named Williams, I guess. Poku and Chet. I would have assumed things would look better here, but one, I don't trust the playing time for anybody from OKC, and everybody is just sort of the same flavor of awful. So you can get to the Thunder, but you got to cross your fingers that you're getting the right piece because they all look decent.
Right. You're still dealing with very volatile playing time. I think Trey Mann probably looks the best. Jared Butler looks pretty good. I would assume Usman Jang's just playing real minutes here. Lindy Waters, maybe. I assume Šarić is playing less, but who knows? Like guys that are actually sort of relevant to their rotation, I would just assume are playing less minutes.
Right.
Especially if they're not like young. So I assume Šarić is playing a little bit less, still a very good point per minute guy, but I assume he's playing a bit less. I assume Isaiah Joe is playing a bit less. Trey Mann, Jared Butler, Robinson Earl, Lindy Waters, Olivier Sarr. Like these are guys that I wouldn't be surprised if you saw them play the most minutes, but you still can't be that confident in it. But I guess Mann would be where I go first, probably followed by either Butler or Jang.
This one's a tough one. Like there's pieces, but
there's going to be good plays here. It's just not clear who they are.
Yeah.
The starting lineup will tell you a little bit more, but also it's OKC, so you could have a totally different second half starting lineup.
Yep. The only saving grace here is that they really don't have a ton of dudes that are available.
Right. That's kind of why I keep going back to like Mann, Jang, Butler. Like it just seems like those are guys where they're going to be willing to play them a bunch of minutes.
Yeah. 2 games left, guys. Hit that like button for the 800 people that are here. 100 likes. We've got Live Before Lock coming up next. We've got the Clippers, 11-point favorites in Phoenix, 225 total. And if the Clippers win this game, they will face the Phoenix Suns in the first round of the playoffs. If they lose, they could fall all the way to 7. I don't know what they want to do. I mean, obviously the Clippers would choose to be 6 if they can and get that old Sacramento Kings matchup, but I don't know how much they can actually maneuver this. Assuming they're trying to win and going for it, what do you want to do with someone like Kawhi?
Yeah, assuming they're trying to win and going for it, Kawhi is certainly playable. The problem is I would still have him behind Ingram, Davis, LeBron, but certainly capable of going and getting 50 plus fantasy points. Same can be said for Westbrook. He's more expensive than you want to pay, but that doesn't matter a ton. So just pretend he's 8K. But yeah, I think those are the two that I would look at if, we do get a starting lineup and we don't get a normal starting lineup and we don't get any news that they're going to be limited.
Yeah, this one's just a tricky one. Like they could look good. They also are likely to not have to go full bore.
Right.
Like once that one is set in stone, I have a sneaky suspicion that Kawhi Leonard is going to get his ass parked on the bench the moment that they don't have any real issue with winning.
Right. Yeah, and this does strike me as a spot sort of where we had talked the other day. I don't remember what game it was, but we were saying, I think it was when the Lakers were big favorites, and I was saying that I didn't expect a flattened rotation in the first half. I didn't think they were going to risk losing the game.
Yeah.
But you could just see them, bench down the stretch. Here, it wouldn't be as surprising if they just kind of run a deeper rotation in general, because one, they have enough talent to do it and not, be awful. And two, they probably want to win, but it's not a must win by any stretch.
Yeah. And they're playing a team that is punting the game. Right. So you can kind of take you can take the foot off the gas a little bit for something.
Right. If you want to play Kawhi 15 minutes in the first half and then readjust in the second half. And if it's close, maybe he plays, 20 minutes in the or 18.
He plays the third quarter.
Right. You can do that, but this is a spot where it's different than that Lakers spot where if the Lakers came out and they're, oh yeah, we're going to play LeBron and Davis 14 minutes in the first half. And then they end up, screwing around and losing the game. It had really bad implications for them.
Yep.
If the Clippers do that, it's not ideal, but they're fine.
On the Suns side of this one, no Paul Payne.
Yeah, what else? Sorry. What else are the Clippers waiting on? Because Too Nice said it could depend on if the other games are looking close, which I agree with. If there's one ahead of them that matters.
So they're tied with the Warriors, but they have the tiebreaker.
And then later anyway.
Well, it's the same time.
But they're not going to be judging.
They're not going to have any. They're not going to have any information here. Right. They're a game ahead of the Lakers, no information, and then they're a game ahead of the Pelicans, again, no information.
Okay, so nothing there.
Yeah, there's nothing they could actually wait on. Phoenix is without everybody with a pulse. That's Paul, Payne, Booker, Durant, Warren, Ayton, and Biyombo. Saban Lee pulling 42% ownership. Don't totally agree with that one in terms, like, does he look better? Yeah. Do I feel like he's the 40% guy for today? No, I don't. You can get the Jock Landale if you want. There are pieces here for Phoenix. I wouldn't look at Saban Lee as an overwhelming priority, though.
No, I mean, this is one where I think the ownership's just going to change. There's been a lot of spots as we've gone through the slate where it's been like, this guy shouldn't be 2% owned. Saban Lee should certainly get ownership. He's a good play here. But like Saban Lee and Trey Mann aren't very different. And we had 2% ownership coming into Trey Mann. Like, that's going to change. There's a bunch of guys like that, you know, are 3K and are just going to play minutes and look pretty good. So I'd ignore the ownership on him right now. But he does look like a good play. He's
agreed.
Like, him and Shaman are basically the only point guards they have.
All right, let's close this one up. Golden State Warriors, 17-point favorites in Portland. Warriors trying to get the 5 seed, or, you know, what they really want is the 6 seed and that date with the Kings, but they could fall as far as 8th. They're playing for this one. 25% ownership going to Steph. If you're playing anybody here, it's Steph or Clay, in my opinion. I don't like Steph nearly as much as I like the other guys that we've talked about as pay-up options, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm there with you. I prefer getting to Davis, Ingram, LeBron, but Steph clearly a very good play here as well. Should just be able to score at will for as long as he's on the floor. Clay is basically a cheaper version where, you know, yeah, he's not the same point per minute guy on average as Curry, but you could very easily just see Clay go nuts and Curry not have to carry as much in this game. Those are the two I'd want to get to. It's, you know, there's a lot of slates where it's like, oh yeah, Draymond Green looks pretty good because, you know, Ford is weak and he's reasonably priced, you know, whatever. But here, I really just want the guys that can go out there and light it up as scorers. It just gives you, you know, a little bit higher ceiling. It doesn't strike me as a slate where, you know, getting a 10-10-10 triple double from Draymond Green is that useful. And that's sort of, you know, what you're hoping for when you play Draymond.
Evidently, Portland is going to be without Shaq Harrison today, who is now in the Lakers. He doesn't get to play for both teams at the same time. Just in case anybody is curious. Are you playing anybody from Portland here? Because they don't really have guys, but they all suck.
They do all suck. Sharp is fine as just somebody that like is probably going to play minutes and has the potential to have a big game. Skylar Mays in that same boat. We have Shaq Harrison projected in right now, which obviously is going to change.
He might be in, just not for Portland.
Yeah. I mean, I think Sharp and Mays are where I would look first.
Zach, is your goal just to be Sharp? Isn't a Q tag. He's probable. So there's that. Is the goal to just be wrong over and over again? Because you're knocking that shit out of the park, man.
We don't have an injury report, so we don't know what Sharp is.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, is he on the 11:30?
Yeah.
Okay, I was looking. I had the 10:30 up.
Yeah, he's probable. Not questionable. You know, the injury report. You remember that document he asked about earlier? Yeah, the source information. Yeah, it's there. Oh my God. I got nothing else here. We done?
Yeah, I was just trying to read the Blazers injury report. If Eubanks is
scroll
out,
down.
If Eubanks is out, does that open up anything that would actually look good?
I mean, you got to like Trendon Watford at that point, right? Or whatever.
Yeah, I would think so. John Butler.
Yeah. But add that to the list. Guys, good luck. We're getting out of here. Bet365 is the sponsor. Thank you for that. And shout out to the NBA Live Before Lock crew who are going to have to deal with Zach in chat for the next hour. Enjoy that, everybody. Good luck. Let's say good riddance to this league. We get the playoffs on Tuesday. Let's have some fun. We're out of here. Peace.
DK yesterday. Eric doubled up like every contest below $10 on accident. Posted them twice.
No.
For
That's
NBA.
incredible.
Yeah, their single entry $5 50/50s didn't fill. Like everybody cashed.
That's fantastic. Just put DNPs straight across the board. W.
Yeah. All right, Stochastic, here we go. It's your old pal EMac. Now we're switching gears. We're talking a little NBA. If you were looking for MLB, you can check that out on the Stochastic stream. We've dropped a 50-minute show with me and Terry covering all 10 early games. Now we're going to talk a little NBA action here on this dulcet, this calm, this very reflective day where everything is normal. Eric, are you ready? Do you have any thoughts on today's very easy slate?
Yeah, I'm just playing one lineup because I can't possibly deal with anything else. I looked at this slate when I got up this morning and I chose the Masters. That's what I chose. It was a good decision. I feel good about it. Yeah, we're going one lineup. It's ironic because I feel like these are the slates that I would generally want to jam and play a lot more lineups because I think there's very dead zones where people are going to fall into. That's kind of like the preseason NBA way, but the contests don't really justify slamming it. So I'm playing one lineup and I feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, it more or less makes sense. That is probably the appropriate path. I'm dabbling. I'll do about 20 or so on DK. I just built my one Yahoo lineup. FanDuel's broken things into two waves. They're doing slates for the 1 o'clock games, which is everybody on the Eastern Conference, and then they're doing their 3:30 slate, which I think they're calling their main slate. That is everybody on the West Coast. We, of course, have really no playoff implications whatsoever, or even really draft seeding in the Eastern Conference. Western Conference, we still have 4 teams that can move around. Two can escape the play-in tournament. That would be Minnesota and New Orleans. They are squaring off. And then you've got the Los Angeles teams. Someone's going to probably slide in or stay in the playoffs. And then you've got the Golden State Warriors. So I guess technically there's 5 teams moving around there. Should be a fun one, but it's going to be the later games that are more fun. These early ones, yeah. I don't know. Yesterday was a kind of a disaster. I was watching the Utah game, or I had it on in the background while I was doing stuff on my computer, and I had the home Denver broadcast on, and they kept saying in the fourth quarter, Utah still got their starters in. It's like, they're sitting, their entire rotation is in street clothes behind the bench right now. These starters, they still have been like only one of them. I think Chris Dunn was the only guy who had ever scored 20 points in an NBA game that was on the court at that time.
Incredible.
The hometown homerism was just, this is why Denver's losing. They have their starters and we don't. It's like, no, that's not why you're losing. What is your biggest surprise today that you've seen? Shaq Harrison potentially changing teams midstream. This feels like a bit of a wrestling thing. He's coming out in a Lakers uniform now? What's going on? Chad has.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that that's not the most surprising. I would say there's not a whole lot that's really kind of taking me by surprise. We still have to wait on pieces of news from that whole 12:30 p.m. Pacific time window, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time window. I would say I'm a little bit surprised that people aren't as interested, it would seem, in a game that actually has implications like the Pelicans Minnesota spot. I feel like there's a lot of spots where we're going to get 40 minutes from no names and you kind of want to take guesses on them. But I think just in terms of security, Brandon Ingram's the only guy that's like remotely interesting. Like, nobody else is really getting to anybody in a prominent way. Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns have started to climb up, but I would be north of 25% of them if I were playing multiple lineups today. They're both in my lineup here right now. I just like getting to that game in general because there aren't so many spots where you just know that, we're going to get 40 minutes more than likely if it's competitive there because of what it means to both teams.
Yeah, I'm going to read off for fun. I'm going to read off my Yahoo lineup. Teo Maledon, Cam Thomas, Lindell Wiggins, LeBron James, Lucas Samajic, Brandon Ingram, Anthony Davis, and Chris Dunn. Cam Thomas has scored 40 points 3 times in similar situations to this year. We know Teo Maledon's going to play a boatload of minutes. Probably the same goes for Luka. He looked reasonable yesterday. I needed a power forward. And then I guess Wigington is probably one of the better values on the early slate. Maybe a Marshawn Beauchamp would also be interesting. We know there's a few teams that handle this in, I don't want to say an appropriate way, a predictable way. We've seen Milwaukee. They're just going to run a bunch of their back of the rotation people for big minutes. Thanasis Antetokounmpo had a bunch in the last game. So did Beauchamp and Wigington out of nowhere. I had no idea who Wigington was until I saw Steve Buzzard tweet out that he won the DraftKings tournament with him in his lineup. So there is always that. A lot of the teams are, because the play-in games are going to push things for a few days. Everybody's off tomorrow. There's couple days of playing games, and then the NBA actual playoffs don't start for a couple days after that. So most of these teams, this is the last time they're going to suit up. We could see some teams play their starters a little bit. Denver ended up doing that last night. They ran their guys out into the third quarter. They got gobsmacked in the first quarter, got back in the game, ended up losing late, but they played more than we thought. We saw out of nowhere, Nikolai Vucevic. I don't know why he was playing the other day when all the starters were out. It would shock me that the Bulls want to play. They've got to win 2 play-in games to make the postseason. I don't know why some teams are playing, but it's kind of a guessing game. And then even if players play, I saw somebody in Twitter posted that why am I blanking? Mikal Bridges is going to get his start, commit a foul, and hop out of the game, sort of like Giannis did in the All-Star game. So it's like, even if someone's starting, there's no safety in that. There's no safety anywhere. We should just kick back and eat chocolate eggs today.
Or, make one lineup, try to make some educated decisions, give the people some information, and then we can go along with our lives. But yeah, even like for me, the uncomfortable part, and I think the guys were talking about, I caught the very tail end of the show, like the Clippers. There's so many scenarios where they don't want to win this game, but also want to win this game based on locking in the 6th seed. Because if you can avoid Phoenix for as long as possible, why wouldn't you? Sacramento would be the spot you want to land into. But to be able to finagle your way and know exactly how that's going to land for you is so difficult. So even a guy like Kawhi, you can't jam. Even a guy like, in some of these spots where we think there's a lot to play for. Golden State, they're massive favorites on the road. It's like, I don't know what to do with a lot of these spots. So yeah, we're looking at some backups. Whoever starts from Brooklyn is going to be a very important part of our builds and from this early window. So we'll wait for that. Chris Dunn, he's also in my lineup. And then, yeah, a lot of guys from the Minnesota New Orleans game. Kind of a straightforward way of putting together one lineup.
Yeah, let's hit on the Lakers real quick. They still have stuff it makes sense for them to win. They have a chance of getting out of the playing game. Now the league is divided: Eastern Conference games in the 1 o'clock window, Western Conference teams in the 3 o'clock window. So the games are going to be going on simultaneously. But that doesn't mean a team like Golden State can't be winning and seeing the teams they need to losing and pulling their guys in the fourth quarter. You could also see them losing or in a close game, but the other team's winning, or other teams like that, where maybe they're like, you know what, screw it, we're not going to worry about this. And then there's the specter of playing Phoenix in the first round because of how the seeding works. This is just the mental gymnastics in all of this. But thank God the NBA's integrity team is on it, and they're investigating the Dallas Mavericks for potentially resting starters when they had a chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah, how could they? How could they? Shame.
They're targeting Mark Cuban. Jet Wyman says he was at the Utah game. Denver played their legit starters for 3 quarters while the Jazz were playing their G League team. No excuses. Cheers. Thank you for the super chat. And yes, that was kind of a fun one to watch. That was even listening to the lamenting hometown announcers. I was having a chuckle at that. Let's see what else we have popping up here in the super chat. Remember, we are sponsored by Bet365. If you are in Colorado, Virginia, New Jersey, and one state to be named later. I can't think of that state at the moment. It'll pop in my head. That's right, Ohio. Round on the middle, high in the middle, round on both ends, Ohio. You guys can wager $1 and get $200 in bet credits on Bet365. Sign in going through the link below us here. But you deposit $1, make a wager. Don't have to win or lose. It doesn't matter. They're going to give you $200 in bet credits. Easy peasy, great way to do it. If you or anybody has a gambling problem, please call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. And the standard age for wagering in most states is 21 or older. Anything terrifying in these early games here for you?
I don't think the word's terrifying. It's probably like, am I overlooking certain pieces of the board? Like, I think
that's a better way of saying it. Who's going to gobsmack you? Who's the Cam Thomas of today? Who's the Marshall of today?
So I guess we can kind of go down the line on like guys that we think could play a lot more. Like Peyton Pritchard is sub 10% right now, 3,900 starting. We saw him play 24 minutes, go completely nuts there against Toronto, but this is a spot where Tatum, Smart, Williams, Brown, Horford, everybody's out. So does Peyton Pritchard just take an eternal amount of run? Do they limit everybody to like 30-ish minutes? If that's the case, whatever. The other guy, Shake Milton. Does Shake Milton go out and play a massive amount of minutes? These are guys that just aren't making it into my lineups right now that, like, if you told me a 6K Shake Milton was optimal today because he played 43 minutes again, yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. But do they maybe limit him a little bit more? They can bring other guys into the mix just to eat some minutes. And there's just so many spots like that where it's a little bit more fascinating to me. One thing that I think is interesting is looking at all of the low ownership on Detroit. Like we've seen Jaden Ivey and Killian Hayes play crazy amount of minutes, 43 and 42 the last two for Ivey, 42, 35, and 40 the last three for Killian Hayes. And he's not pulling any ownership whatsoever either. So there's spots like that where, you know, are we overlooking certain things? You can't play everybody. You want to get to the likes of the Ingrams and the Edwards and Towns and guys that, you know, are 7K plus that you want to get to. Ingram being the only guy really 10K plus that I would be landing on in any considerable way on this slate. But there's so many of those mid-range guys where it's just like you can find one or two super low-owned pieces at every single turn. And I think what scares me is just not being on the right ones.
Yes, that is the fear. I see someone asking, is there going to be a show for the 3:30 games? No, but we will have projections and everything updated. You can get us in Discord. You can talk about it on the Chalkboard app that Laffy and Greg are very active in. I signed up for that as well. So you guys can do that too. I think if you go over, producer Mike may be able to drop the link into that in chat. It's only on the app. It's not on your or only on mobile devices, not on the old computer screen. The wording's so tiny for me, but I've even signed up and I'm using this. Never get old, Eric. Never get old. It's not fun. I'm holding out from getting reading glasses, but I probably need them at this point. You can only expand your phone so many times, and only seeing 2 words at a time on your phone when you're reading articles, that can be a problem. But I'm good. I'll just eat more carrots. Check that out. I want to remember for any of you Seam heads out there, the last day, 9 days for $9. This is the MLB content only. 9 days for $9. Promo code PLAYBALL. Jump in. It's going to be a lot of fun there. You're laughing at me. This is supposed to be Team Eric. We're supposed to be supporting.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm enjoying your. Apparently, I was a Debbie Downer, which I don't think I've ever been called. Ever. So I kind of appreciated that. Am I bringing that vibe? I'm okay with that.
Someone called you a Debbie Downer today?
Somebody called me a Debbie Downer, which it's a foreign concept to me. So I'm happy to, I'm happy to bring the spark plug back. I'm sorry if you felt that way, but again, I'm okay balancing us out because EMac, I've never seen EMac mad in my entire life. I don't think I would want to. I think that would be pretty terrifying.
It's not fun when it happens. When I could
imagine
it's not fun. It's mean. It's
Brooks Koepka trying to punch out the back window of a Mercedes. He's told that story like 3 times now. I'm like, what an idiot. Don't do that.
I did not realize he had that kind of a violent temper.
He does. He tried. He couldn't do it.
I just get mad. I just like the gif of the guy's head exploding, the little redhead guy. That's what happens to me. I don't get violent. Violence doesn't help. Let's see. I'm going to open up the old tools here, close out the MLB. I have loaded my lineups. We've got 35 minutes until lock here. We just had an NBA projection update about 5 minutes ago. I am looking at that. Let's quickly sort over on some value plays here and throw some names out. I see somebody asking about tiers. I'll take a peek. I haven't even thought about that. Ooh, do you know which father-son combination has the most Major League stolen bases and most NBA three-pointers made?
I mean, stolen bases, Griffey's the only one I can think of right now off the top of my head, but that's probably not correct. It's probably somebody who has like almost all of them, like a Henderson, and then somebody who has like none of them.
Well, two sports, three-pointers in the NBA and stolen bases in the MLB. Which father-son combination?
It's the same father-son combination? What? No,
Kenny Lofton and Kenny Lofton Jr.
Got it. There it is.
I was trying to get us to talk about Kenny Lofton. It popped in my mind.
You just kind of play him today, right? Like you kind of don't think all that hard about it. He's such a good fantasy point per minute guy. And if he's going to play 30 minutes, that feels like a pretty easy core piece to have in your lineups. But here's the other part of today is that you could see 61% of the field get completely burned by a guy who ends up playing 26 minutes, because there's going to be so many people who do play 40 minutes that just pop out of nowhere. Like, I think my favorite piece, wait, if you had to start your lineup with one player, no matter what, who do you pick on today's slate? Because it still wouldn't be Kenneth Lofton Jr. for me.
Brandon Ingram would be number one.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at, is like, I feel a lot more confident in Brandon Ingram being like a must-have type piece because of the implications of the game. Or, you know, I suppose Anthony Davis is probably the right answer, but I feel better about rotating the guys who have things to play for at the top end, and then just mixing in different kinds of value, because the range of outcomes for Kenneth Lofton's minutes is anywhere from 26, and I get it, Memphis has everybody out, but like 26 to 42 minutes. Like that's a legitimate range of outcome kind of conversation you can have. So do I think he's probably the best piece of value on this slate? Absolutely. But is he fundamental to be building? I think you play a lot of him, but like 61%, I'm not sure if that's necessarily the kind of number I would reach with how many players there are in play that could end up playing more minutes that could fit into more lineups.
So my main decision on that, because I'm building just the one lineup on Yahoo, is Luka Samanic. And I'm going with Luka just because he's played more, and even though it's a back-to-back and he played 30 minutes yesterday, I'm thinking he has a better chance to play 30. Lofton has the better chance to play more than 30, but he could also play low 20s, and we could see a dysfunctional offense. At least the Utah offense looked relatively competent yesterday. That's always my fear when everybody's out. You get the Cam Thomas types that can create their own shots, but if you're stuck with the Corey Kispert or somebody, it's like, well, great, he can shoot 3-pointers, but he's not really going to do anything else. And if nobody's really setting him up, that becomes a problem. And if there's nobody, defense is not drawing their attention anywhere else, then they're going to be all over the guy who can shoot, right? So it's, you just try to think of who can still remain competent. And Utah had a couple good players yesterday, plus Chris Dunn. I guess we're bearing the lead here. He played a ton of minutes yesterday, had over 50 fantasy points. I think he's a key guy as well. But the Kenny Lofton Jr. is very interesting.
No, definitely. There's no way that I wouldn't call him extremely interesting. It just comes down to like, if you get 25, 26 minutes out of him, you've just passed more than half the field instantly. Like he shows up in more lineups because he has the power forward center eligibility, that therefore you can play him in 4 different spots on DraftKings. But I mean, there are so many other cheapies. I mean, looking at the top of the board next to him there, you have Cam Thomas and Day'Ron Sharpe, both of them 3,500 and under. You have pieces all over the board. Talked about Peyton Pritchard, 3,900. Yuta Watanabe could end up playing 40 minutes, 42 minutes from him too. So like, there's so many of those kind of guys where if Kenneth Lofton plays 30 minutes, yeah, you're probably going to need him. But assuming there's a scenario where he plays 24 or 26, gets into foul trouble or something like that, I got to say there's just a lot of ways where on a slate like this, with every team in play, you could run into something else somehow. You still have to find that pivot, which good luck to you. But yeah, I'm just trying to play devil's advocate for a guy who's obviously a good play if he plays 30 minutes.
All right. NBA tiers.
Oh, no. Stop it.
Tier
No
one,
way.
if I'm looking at this correctly, would be nobody, because Luka, Giannis, Embiid, and Jokic are all not playing today.
That's fantastic.
Guess you would put in Doncic, and maybe he sets foot on the court. Don't play one of the people in the early games. Maybe something changes, but that would be there. Tier two is rather interesting. You got Davis, LeBron, and Curry. They're all projected within 3 points. I would probably go LeBron in that one, or Curry. If you were looking at those three, Davis, LeBron, and Curry, where would you rank them?
Davis 1, Curry 2, LeBron 3.
Kawhi Leonard and Brandon Ingram are in tier 4. That's clearly going to be Brandon Ingram. Guys, if you haven't played this yet, or if you haven't gotten your perfect tiers, this is the day to do it, because tier 4 only has Sabonis as the only active player in it. Tier 5 has Quickly and Russell Westbrook. I would take Westbrook. How much? We'll get to New York next. Where do you think Quickly is going to end up today? And then tier 6 is Alfred Şengün. All right, I'm going to look at afternoon tiers.
I would be completely shocked if he played more than. We saw 30 minutes last game, I believe it was.
Yes.
I can't remember. Let me click on him. 30 minutes. Yeah, we saw 30 minutes. I'd be shocked if he played more than 30 minutes. He's a part of that playoff rotation. You've had injuries throughout for Jalen Brunson this season. You want to have him on the back burner, just healthy, ready to go here. I get the idea of wanting to get some run out of some of these guys. You saw 36 minutes from RJ Barrett right from the get-go after being out for over a week. So you just want to see some of these guys healthy and getting run. But on a slate like this, when they're 9,400, 8K, 7,100, you can talk about salary not mattering, but it does matter in the context of you're going to need more than 30 minutes out of people you're spending that kind of money for. So I'm completely out on the Knicks.
All right, I'm looking at the afternoon tiers quickly. Tier 1, the only player playing, Anthony Davis. Tier 2, you've got 4 players in there: James, Curry, Ingram, Leonard. I would probably go Ingram. Again, afternoon tiers only. Sabonis might be playing this afternoon. Tier 4, Edwards, McCollum, Westbrook. I would take Edwards easily in that one. Tier 5, you actually have some players in there. I'd take Shaedon Sharpe. I would assume that De'Aaron Fox is not playing today, or will play very little. Rudy Gobert or Karl Anthony Towns would be your alternatives. We'll let you talk about the Timberwolves in a second. And then Chris Dunn is easy for tier 6. Klay Thompson would be the second best option. How do you feel about your Minnesota Timberwolves today?
Not great, Bob. Not great, because they lost to Portland, and now we're in this scenario where we kind of need to maintain where we're at. The West, that whole 5 through 10 section still has things to play for. So Minnesota, Karl Anthony Towns questionable. I assume he has to play basketball today. I would be very, very surprised. I know it's a back-to-back. I know he's coming off of injury, but it would be very strange for me for Karl Anthony Towns not to be playing in this basketball game in this spot. Anthony Edwards, another guy that I just think makes sense getting to in whatever capacity you want. I think he's probably a little bit undervalued, even at 25% there. Just looking at Minnesota's implications, Memphis, not really playing that hard against OKC on that side. I'm kind of writing in OKC. They're done on the back end there. Just going through everything here. They're going to be in that play-in game spot, but you want to make sure that you have home court at least for the play-in spot, and then could move up to 8, I believe Minnesota could. So lots of ways the West still has things to shuffle up, and Minnesota, I'm just looking at the studs. I'm not looking at playing Mike Conley. As good as he's been defensively, Jaden McDaniels, not all that interesting. Jalen McDaniels, actually a really good player from the Philadelphia side. Don't really see anything from Minnesota outside of Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns. If you took a random shot on Gobert, I wouldn't completely hate it, assuming that he's out there playing. That's another guy who could go nuts, but we have so many cheap centers to rotate through. You're probably better off trying to pick and choose the spots where you could maybe run into 36 minutes of somebody else.
All right, we got a super chat here from Corey Shea. Would like to know the best DK option under 4,600 and under. He already knows about Lofton and Cam Thomas.
Okay, well, you're probably running into that whole, what is it? Damian Jones, I think, is probably pretty interesting, 4,300. If you ran into a ton of minutes of him at center, it would not surprise me in any way, shape, or form. They had Azubuike start the last couple, but maybe they have Damian Jones in this spot start. If it ends up being Azubuike, probably don't want to go there. He's not as interesting. He's like a 0.9 fantasy point per minute producer, but I would have some kind of a contingency. Again, you're going to have enough roster spots because there's so many interesting spots in the 3:30 p.m. Eastern time window. You should be able to get some Damian Jones if he ends up starting, but I would give him a specific shout out. Otherwise you're going down to like Day'Ron Sharpe. I'd be looking at like the lower 3K guys, even though it's 4,600.
Yeah, leave money on the table. Day'Ron Sharpe, Sabian Lee is fine. Peyton Pritchard is fine. These are guys we know are going to play probably 30 minutes with potential for more upside. You get a little nervous with people like Saric or Trey Mann. You know, it's not like they have to play more than 20. Maybe the Atlanta guys like Jalen Johnson, and I'm blanking on the name of their other youngster. How do you feel about Okongwu? I know he was projecting pretty well earlier. They're important rotation guys like Okongwu and Bay. I don't think they're going to play a lot, right? They need them ready for the play-in game. They got a long way to go. They got to win 2 play-in games to even make it.
Yep, I'm with you. I think Okongwu is somebody that I would just be completely out on today. I saw that he was pulling quite a bit of ownership earlier. He's down to 12.8%.
Okay.
I wouldn't in any world project him for more. I would actually, do you think Bruno Fernando's a guy who could end up getting the lion's share of minutes there? Because that would be like the disgusting 0.2% play from here. Somebody said Sadiq Bey, birthday narrative. No, Sadiq Bey is also a guy who's been legitimately starting for them, absent DeAndre Hunter in some spots. So that is not appealing to me in any way, shape, or form. I think AJ Griffin probably would be the most intriguing guy to maybe get to, just because he can be a good fantasy point per minute guy without some of these pieces. He's not good on the year, 0.77, but you could watch AJ Griffin, who's, way down the totem pole, run into 29, 32 minutes, something in that range. And that would be interesting because of shooting guard small forward at 3,400. But again, Atlanta, just another team that they have enough bodies with Garrison Matthews there, Trent Forrest there, former Utah guy, Vit Krejci. Like, they have enough pieces that I don't really find Atlanta all that intriguing. And I think Okongwu, I'm not going to call him a trap because he could definitely go completely berserk in 28 minutes and put up 45 or something in these circumstances, but not for me.
All right. I'm just looking. It reminded me that Houston is actually one of the Western Conference teams that's playing in the East. They're playing at the Eastern time today, which makes sense because if we're splitting these 15 and 15, someone has to. Of course, Houston and Washington going exactly nowhere fast. Washington, I think we just got their starting lineup. I'm assuming it's the usual cluster of a lineup. And I know DeLon Wright is out. Huff ran out of days on his 2-way contract, so he is not going to be available right now. But let me call them up because I think this was kind of an interesting spot when I was looking at it this morning. Rookie Johnny Davis, Kendrick Nunn, and Jordan Goodwin are going to split the backcourt minutes. I think they could each get around 30 minutes. That's kind of going to be my break point for anybody today. Create a player, Isaiah Todd and Quentin Jackson. I have no idea who they are, but they're on the team. Xavier Cooks, never heard of him. Corey Kispert, Anthony Gill will probably get the ceremonial start. Who knows what he's going to do? Taj Gibson.
We got that starting lineup, by the way. Let me read it off here for you. I saw it come through. Goodwin, Davis, Kispert, Todd, and Cooks. Welcome to the last day of the NBA.
Okay, starting 2 players. I had no idea who they are. So
yep, I saw
playing one lineup seems like just a savvy way to go.
Yeah, I'm crushing life today. I'm just crushing. Xavier Cooks. I don't think this dude. I feel like I've played him I know I played him 2 slates ago when he first got introduced, and he had started, I believe, or was at least one of those guys that was going to be like 4 or 5% owned with nobody there for Washington. With Taj Gibson, who I don't expect to be playing, you're probably running into a lot of minutes again for Johnny Davis at 6,200. I would say him, Jordan Goodwin, Kendrick Nunn. God forbid Kendrick Nunn goes nuts today on some people. Because, again, how many minutes do you project him for? Do you put him in for 28, 30? He hasn't reached that number here in this last string of games. So I think Goodwin and it would seem as though Goodwin and Johnny Davis are going to get more of the run still, but that's just kind of an educated guess, I suppose. But yeah, this starting lineup does not inspire greatness.
This isn't fun, Eric.
Yeah,
It was fun this morning, but the more I look at it, the less fun this is getting.
yeah. Isaiah Todd is a flat 3K. I mean, is this a typo? I mean, he's played 3, 4, 12 minutes this season. Nope, 13 minutes this season. Good times.
Best 5 plays by position. I'm assuming this is for DK. I will give you my 5 most owned by position. Point guard, Chris Dunn, Jalen Green, Saban Lee, somehow David Duke's in there, Kendrick Nunn, and Liddell Wigington. Shooting guard, Cam Thomas, Anthony Edwards, Jalen Green, to position eligibility, Peyton Pritchard, Luke Kennard. I could see him just kicking back and shooting. Those are really it. I'm not getting any of the Washington guys, which is a surprise. I've only made 20 lineups. I'm going to make another 20, but we'll see. Anthony, small forward, Edwards, James, Ingram. Of course, those are your big 3. David Roddy, of all people. Anthony Edwards, of course, sliding in there. Kenny Lofton Jr. is my number 1 power forward center. That's horrific.
Oh my God.
Karl Anthony Towns, there's David Roddy again, and Yuta Watanabe. And then center, we already mentioned Lofton, but I like Day'Ron Sharpe today. I like Alfred Şengün today. I'm okay with Christian Wood today. And then I think Anthony Davis is a key play. So, dear God.
I'm with you. I'm looking at the Bucks lineup. Somebody was talking about Portis starting. I don't think you need to overreact to that.
No, he was a surprise.
I mean, he was
DNP.
projected to be out. He played 37 minutes in that spot. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I keep talking over you. He
Oh,
was projected to play the last game and then didn't. So I trust absolutely nothing, even if he's starting.
I thought he played, didn't? Oh yeah, no. Last 2 games ago, he wasn't projected. I have no idea how to project the minutes for it. There's no way that they want to give him any kind of prominent run. I'd be pretty surprised by that.
Wigington off the bench. Does that change your mind about him? No, it doesn't.
I mean, you got to project him for fewer than 41 minutes he played last time in a start. So I will say that. Seems as though, because I thought Javon Carter was a really good play last slate, and then they just played him, 21 minutes? He played 32 minutes in that start against Chicago. I'm assuming what you're going to just run into is a little bit of like limited run, maybe 18 minutes, 20 minutes, kind of the same thing for Carter. Get him second unit usage, or get him prepped for second unit usage when you get to the playoffs here. And then maybe Wigington played well enough where they want to maybe limit him not to 41 minutes this time around. That might be a fair assessment. You got Dragic, who can eat up some minutes too there. I'm going to take Wigington down, that's for sure, but I don't think he's completely out of play. 5,500 still. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to give him a tick down.
Yeah, $10 on Yahoo. I'm still fine with him. And I need that position. But on DraftKings, he's only coming in 10% of my lineups now.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be taking him down the board. That's for sure. Put him at 30 minutes. You could probably still land there, but he is far less appealing coming off the bench. Yeah. Assuming that they just want to give Carter some sort of similar run there. Be a little bit weird. Ashamed of these NBA lineups. Yes, Ryan Nelson, we all are. Teo Maledon, that's a guy that just plays a boatload of minutes. I think guard, you might be just better off jamming some of these guys that you just know are going to play I would be floored if Teo Maledon played less than 36 minutes, wouldn't you?
Yes.
So we should get to some of those kind of guys if you're playing a bunch of lineups. I'm playing one and maybe it makes some sense to have a little security in a spot like that. And then, did we get that Brooklyn starting lineup? Did I just miss that?
Let's see, I think we did.
Nets. Yeah, there we go. Mills, Thomas, Bridges, Watanabe, Sharp.
Sure.
I wanted to say, just because I remember that coming in for a second, and I was like, oh, we don't have to think as much about David Duke, even though he's super, super cheap. You could try to make that a thing. Sumner ended up being out today, so that kind of cleared up some of the things on the Brooklyn side of it. But I think the other guy was Drew Smith that I thought had a chance to start, and I was considering at a flat 3K as well, but obviously no more. I don't think I really want to get to anybody outside of Cam Thomas and the obvious Day'Ron
Sharp. Yep. I'm okay with Watanabe and David Duke. They're like my 15th and 17th most owned play. Brandon Ingram, I should rerun my lineups. I screwed up Brandon Ingram's number.
It's always good. People are talking about Malachi Flynn starting. Yeah, he's a flat 3K, but I don't know. I don't completely love it.
Yeah.
I know he's starting, but like, I don't want to like be biased against certain players just because I don't think that they're as likely. Because it's really just trying to gauge minutes and take shots. Let me see what his ownership is at currently. That'll dictate whether or not I think that makes any kind of sense. Yeah, I'm not going to be playing any Malachi Flynn.
No, there's no need. All right, new strategy. I'm crunching my lineups with pairs from each of the important games, and that's how I'm going to ride with this tonight. Please rank Cam Thomas, Reggie Jackson. We haven't talked about him. Peyton Pritchard and Isaiah Joe. I would say Thomas is 1, Pritchard is 2. Reggie Jackson would be 3, and Isaiah Joe would be 4. Reggie Jackson, did he play at all yesterday? I don't remember. He did not play yesterday. He has played as many as 30 minutes just 3 days ago. So I'm comfortable with him. We know what we're getting. He's around a fantasy point per minute guy. 30 fantasy points feels okay with him.
I don't feel good about Reggie Jackson.
I'd still have him third on that list, though. I'd still put Pritchard ahead of him.
Yep, I would too. I think Peyton Pritchard's probably the guy that I'm talking myself into in the absence, because before I had, I was kind of like planning on playing one of the 3K Brooklyn guys, and then it ends up being Patty Mills getting the start. And now I just feel like I need to get $900 and play Pritchard. He was like the one guy I keep referencing throughout the show where I'm like, there's a chance that he could walk into like 34 minutes, but I don't know. It's just another spot where I'm like, I feel like there are ways where I could build out like a balanced lineup of the Teo Maledons of the world and just jam a bunch of these dudes who should be playing tons of crazy minutes. Like even Jalen Green at 7,700. We haven't talked about Houston at all, but Houston has no regard for humanity right now and just keeps running all their dudes into the ground. Hard not to still like getting to Şengün, Green, those two specifically without Kevin Porter Jr. out there. I think that that's probably a really good spot to get to that doesn't seem is pulling the kind of ownership I was expecting.
I concur.
Jalen Green's up to 19.5% now. Never mind.
Yeah, I think we're starting to see people sort out and realize, oh my God, we have all this value. And then the next thought is, how am I going to get any raw points on this? Because this is like closing line value. Potential minutes for somebody sitting everybody still must come to fruition.
What do you think about Dallas today? I think Dallas is probably another one of those teams where look at me doing my research or something. If they don't care, like if they just let their guys go out and run, Christian Wood, Jaden Hardy, and McKinley Wright are phenomenal plays. But I think they still need to lose this game. Am I right about that, or am I wrong?
I don't think they have to.
They don't have to.
They can't make.
Because then I would just play. I'm not talking about making play-in. I'm talking about keeping their draft pick from the Knicks.
I think they have the tiebreaker for being the worst.
Okay.
The worst of the worst.
Well, that's good. Then I'm going to actually switch. I'm going to play Christian Wood in my lineup. There we are. That'll be fun when he doesn't start and sitting there incapable of swapping. It's great.
In chat, I missed it. They said Pritchard not starting. That's fine. He's still going to play a lot.
Pritchard starting. Pritchard was starting.
Oh, I'm reading off chat. So they say the Dallas game is medium, meaningless. Dong picks. Kyle Schwarber would be one. John McCann would be the deep cut.
Look at you.
Joshua says, don't play Houston. Silas said the whole team is going to play today. Yeah, I'll still play some, but I'm okay with that. I'm now just whatever I have.
Again, I don't feel like that's I think that's a risk that I'm okay not taking. Like I'm okay with it. I'm going to go to the Maladon Sharp Wood combination. That seems like it's going to be a lot of fun. 2 Sharps, by the way, 2 Sharps in my lineup now.
Very well played.
I'm sharp like that.
You are very sharp. Dayron and they're brothers, right? I'm assuming. Related?
Don't know.
Cousins?
I have no
Sharp,
idea.
both spelled with an E on the end. Feels like it could be.
Feel like that would be a stretch. One's very tall. One is not genetically. Not that that means anything, but I'm just saying. I don't think they're related. I'd be surprised. Pritchard has the green check mark. See? There you go.
Dayron Sharp is not related.
Oh.
I'm sad now. That would have been fun. That's like the Hamadou and who was the other Diallo? Check. Hamadou and Check Diallo.
Yep.
And
everything you know is a lie, EMac.
The fact that none of the Porter Juniors are related.
Ivy green check mark season. Like the guy who's been starting all year is continuing to start. That's very strange to me. Hayes, Ivy, Hampton, Duran, Wiseman. So they're going back to that Duran, Wiseman dealio. Again, watching these starting lineups come through is kind of like the very fascinating part of doing this show right now. Kind of like, let me go back to, Duran started the last 3, but then only played 23 minutes. It wasn't a foul issue, was it? Yeah, it certainly was. 5 personal fouls. Jalen Duran, you could definitely be firing up in some lineups, playing alongside Wiseman here. Marvin Bagley coming off the bench. Yeah, fun times.
Why Xavier Tillman? Why?
Are you playing Xavier Tillman?
I'm crossing out some lineups now.
Okay.
That aren't projecting very well. I want Zaire Williams. Why do I have Zaire Williams?
I do not know.
This is what happens when you sort.
My thing is, it's like Xavier Tillman, we have projected for a lot of minutes, 28. With the news that Steven Adams is like, bye-bye, going to be out for the rest of the season. Do you really want to go out and run your true backup center now? Or, I mean, he's been starting in some spots like the entire season. He's been starting for, 2 months now. Why would you play him 28 minutes? That one seems a little bit strange to me.
Yeah, the same thing.
He played 18 minutes last game, not starting. I feel obviously better. Everybody in the entire world feels better about Kenneth Lofton Jr., even though he's now not in my lineup. That kind of an interesting development. Maybe I should reassess that.
All right. I'm rebuilding yet again here.
We're starting it over, baby.
I'm now just giving major thumbs up to all the players in games with playing the stars playing for something. Yeah. I am locking in Teo Maladon, Sharp, no relation. And let's see what happens then. Oh, there we go. Those are some pretty lineups.
Look at that.
Little Jalen Johnson in my life. I don't want Dario Saric. I don't need him. Jeremiah Robinson. I don't need him.
Yeah.
I wish there was a tool like that would build lineups for me, and then I could just click the ones I discard, the ones I didn't want, save the ones I wanted, maybe lock in some players, or find the perfect lineup and just swap a player. I'd call it like the lineup generator. I'd probably give you an offer that you could get it for $450 your first week. Description below us here. If I was wishing, using my Easter wish, I wish we had a lineup builder that you could get for about 50 cents a day to build you lineups.
Me too.
And then we'd also do it for golf. Yeah. And playoff showdown coming up soon. A little quiet about that one. 4 minutes to go here, Eric. 4 minutes to go. Do you have your lineup ready?
my solo lineup, yes, I do. It's fantastic.
All right.
When Christian Wood is not starting, I will have nothing. I will be in shambles. But let's see. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 players from the early game, 4 late. Maybe I'll probably be okay if he's not starting. But there it is. Good times. Eric, fade power forward, please. Kenneth Lofton makes a lot of sense. Samanic was the guy that EMac threw out there as well. So I'll give the sandwich Samanic a little shout out there as well. I think there's probably, Karl Anthony Towns is awesome too. 7,800 in a game that, they should be wanting to play and win. I think that makes sense. Somebody gave us a super chat asking, is Timberwolves Pelicans the only real game today? No, there are a lot of other real games that are occurring, but it's just that like Golden State is massive, massive favorites. The Lakers are massive, massive favorites. Like there are spots, the Clippers are in a spot there where they want to be winning too. More than likely, assuming that they could lock in being the 6th seed, they would take that immediately in some way, shape, or form. But maybe try to finagle their way to a loss at the end if that's what it requires to be the 6th seed. There's a lot of like small little implications throughout. Dallas, I don't know if they have their pick or not. We'll find out with that starting lineup. I'm pretty sure that they are going to have that pick protected no matter what happens today. So because everything that happens in chat is real and correct.
Just seeing if I can find that quickly here. Knicks pick from the Mavericks in jeopardy after Dallas misses the playoffs. That's the headline.
Yeah.
So
in jeopardy makes it sound like there would still be a need to lose this one, but
that was from yesterday's article. The loss officially. Okay, yeah, the pick won't convey.
All right, please, Christian Wood start and play an ungodly amount of minutes. Even though you're wrapped up in a contract with him, that's probably a bad idea on my part now that I'm talking about it out loud. But if he starts, they just give him 32, 34 minutes of glorified whatever run. Jason Kidd doesn't care about him, so just let him go play.
That's what I'm hoping as well. Everybody hit the like button. We've got, if it's for luck, if you hit the like button today, get us up over 200 and it will guarantee that you will have a good Easter. Maybe it'll be DFS. Maybe you'll get what you like for lunch, perhaps dinner, but you'll have a good Easter. There we go. Hit the like button. If you don't hit the like button, you can have food poisoning. I'd hate to be, you're causing it for yourself, but that could happen. Shout out to Bet365. If you are in Virginia, Colorado, New Jersey, or Ohio, you can join Bet365. Come in through the link below us here. Deposit $1, wager $1, and get $200 in bet credits from Bet365. That's a nice way to start building out your bankroll. Have some fun with it. If you then lose it, hey, you lost $1, even if you lose the 200 they gave you because you're playing with their money. It's a good way to go. This is also the last day of the 9 for 9, 9 days for $9 MLB is back promo. So check that out. Peeps. I see we have peeps on the screen, and I want to wish a very happy Easter to all my peeps. It's a good one. That's good one.
Stuff.
Ryan Houston, of course, I'm going to do an ad read 30 seconds before lock. 1, we have all the starting lineups, and 2, all their viewership's going down after this. So yeah, fit that one right in there. I'm a professional. Don't try this at home, folks, even though I am trying this at home. So we do have that.
Quite literally from home.
I'm literally doing this from home today. I can't believe it. That's my dedication. What else do we have going on today? Not much, but there are some videos on demand out there breaking down some of the late round Masters recommendations. If you're in the sports wagering world, you can get Josh did a couple of videos on demand for this crazy NBA slate for Prize Picks and for No House Advantage. You guys can check that out. You have anything else coming out today, Eric? You get a rare day of Sunday rest.
Well, yeah. I was going to say an afternoon for sure. Now I fired up my bets in the premium Discord. Already got all of that done. Might have a little bit coming out later, just depending on what I'm looking at. But otherwise, spending time with my family here. I'll be recording Lindy's Leans Likes Locks for MLB. There's no NBA on Monday, not till Tuesday. So just going to be recording the MLB stuff for Monday. That is all I have on the docket today.
All right. I am going to have done my two articles, did my 2 shows. Now I'm going to go do taxes. It's one hell of a day.
Taxes.
It's tax day.
That's great.
But with that, we're going to get on out of here. Thank you to producer Mike Lawrence. Thank you to Eric Lindquist. He's at Eric Lindquist over there on Twitter. I am at EMac DFS. And of course, it is stochastic_COM. With that, gamers, good luck.